Surely the bubble has to burst when it comes to inflating prices in football these days. 2017 was the most expensive year of all time when it came to transfers. Let's take a look at the combined 11 of the most costly moves. Ederson. Yep, Ederson might look like a fella who could have become the fourth member of N-Dubs, but this man is a terrific shot stopper. Man City fans spent most of last season wondering why on earth Pep Guardiola had gotten rid of Joe Hart for a man who had the reflexes of a paper towel, but there'll be nobody calling for the West Ham shot stopper these days, not even West Ham fans. £35 million was forked out for the Benfica keeper in the summer, making him the most expensive goalie of all time. Kyle Walker. Surprise, surprise, another Man City player. I promise this list isn't just the City team, alright? A few years ago, back when Kyle Walker was battling it out with Alan Hutton for a spot in the Spurs team, could anybody have seen him commanding a £50 million fee? This man is one of the most expensive defenders of all time. It's just a shame for him that whenever he speaks, he sounds like David Beckham if he just drank a pint of helium. Davinson Sanchez. Man United spent £31 million on Victor Lindelof, only to leave him rust in the shed for most of the season. This is how you spend money on a proper centre-half. 21-year-old Davinson Sanchez helped Ajax to the Europa League final last season, and so the Colombia international commanded a potential £42 million fee when Spurs splashed out on him this summer. Leonardo Bonucci. Now this transfer was just weird. Leonardo Bonucci had just won 6 league titles in a row, reached 2 Champions League finals in 3 seasons, and here he was taking a monumental step backwards to AC Milan, a former great of world football, who were now reduced to signing Fabio Borini from Sunderland. The Italians signed for the Rossoneri. It's December and they're already closer to the relegation zone than the top of the table. What has happened to that club? Benjamin Mendy. Just in case you were having Man City transfer withdrawals, here's another one. Benjamin Mendy is the most expensive left back of all time, and yet you could count on your hand the amount of times he's pulled on a French jersey. After impressing for Monaco last season, he was part of the squad to get absolutely pulled apart by the European vultures, leaving Radamel Falcao wondering why nobody came in for him. Well, they did, Falcao, you were just awful. Mendy was a £52 million buy, and he's only played 5 times for his club after rupturing the anterior cruciate ligament in his knee. Gylfi Sigurdsson. Swansea City effectively wrote their own death warrant when they sold Gylfi Sigurdsson during the summer, and chose to replace him with a bunch of has-beens. Although to be fair, I'm not sure who's to blame for the sudden decline of Renato Sanchez. This is a man who's a Golden Boy winner, and yet he's suddenly forgotten how to pass the ball for some reason. Sigurdsson arrived at Goodison Park for £45 million as Ronald Koeman thought it wise to replace a 25 goal a season striker with about 5 number 10s. Sure, Dominic Calvert-Lewin and some lad from Spain will be enough, right? Timo Bakayoko. Another to walk out of Monaco this season, leaving his colleagues to face the futile fight against Neymar on their own. Timo Bakayoko ended up at Stamford Bridge for £40 million in what is turning out to be one of the most needless transfers of the year. Nemanja Matic had been part of 2 title-winning campaigns. I'm not going to count 2010 when he stood in the background and watched. Whoever's idea was to unscrew him and flog him to Manchester United, replacing him with a man who'd never played in the Premier League before, it just seems strange. He's looked slow, lethargic, can't string 2 passes together. For God's sake, he's being outshunned by Danny Drinkwater. Oscar. Yep, I bet you'd all forgotten about Oscar. Within a year or 2, if he's still in China, I'd say even his mother will have. The 26-year-old has basically written off that promising career he once had, and any hopes he might have had for a World Cup spot in return for a fatter bank account. Oscar signed for Shanghai Shenhua in January of this year for £52 million, earns 400 grand a week, although he did end up banned for 8 matches after his role in a brawl. I know what you're thinking, he doesn't look like he could scare mice. That is a mad league. Graziano Pelle is in the top 5 best paid men in world football. Neymar. You know those crazy buyout clauses that you see inserted in players' contracts and you think, no club will touch that? PSG actually paid it and it was insane. £198 million for Neymar. It was the transfer saga of the summer. Gerard Piqué tried to tell everyone he was staying, but the Brazilian eventually ended up in Paris in the hopes of winning a Ballon d'Or. How long do we give it until he gets bored of sleepwalking to league titles by Christmas every year against the likes of Dion and Strasbourg? Romelu Lukaku. Yep, technically Kylian Mbappe is a loan deal, so he doesn't quite make the cut. Instead, we'll take a look at Romelu Lukaku, a man who made a stunning start to life at Old Trafford following a £75 million move from Everton, after it looked like he'd be returning to Chelsea. But no, after 10 goals in his first 9 games, the goals have dried up and he's proven that he should probably not be allowed within 20 feet of his own box after the Manchester derby. Ousmane Dembele. Can't imagine there were many more clubs in world football that were more panicked than Barcelona this summer. Well, maybe Leyton Orient, who were on the verge of extinction. How do you replace a player like Neymar? It's all well and good having £200 million to spare, but as Liverpool found out when they were given a vast sum for Luis Suarez 3.5 years ago, it's difficult translating that into an actual player, as evidenced by the arrivals of Mario Balotelli and, God help us, Ricky Lambert. After trying and failing like a local creep at a pub for Philippe Coutinho, they finally landed Ousmane Dembele from Borussia Dortmund for £97 million. He played 2 games for them before injuring himself for 4 months. But good job there, Gerard Deulofeu, right?
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.